Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update to a video I did a couple days ago, which was titled, Man Uses Diabolical Plan to Get Even with Girlfriend and Her Lover. And guys, in case you didn't see that video, or just a quick recap, because it's been a couple days, that video was all about a guy. He was 10 years older than his girlfriend, his mid-30s when he met her. They were dating for a couple years, but before they started actually becoming exclusive, he pretty much laid down his terms about what he expected in a relationship and all that. And she was like, yeah, agreed to it and all that. And he thought everything was cool. They were together for a couple of years. It seemed like it was a pretty good relationship. He owned his own company. He kept her and the company separate, got along great with her family. And he got involved with her because he was at a point in his life that he did, in fact, want to get married, have a son, that type of thing, like a lot of guys do. Unfortunately, after a couple of years, they had a big fight because she wanted to go to some concert with some friend that he didn't know about. And he laid down the law and said, no, I don't know this guy, I don't know this person, because she was making out to be a girl, and you're not going to go. And she also wanted to stay in a hotel with his friend. He laid down the law, they had a big fight and everything. And then one thing led to another, and he discovered that she was cheating on him. He found out that she was pregnant, and he actually found out by the time of conception was at a time when he was away on business. So long story short, he tracks down not only when it happened, but also who her lover was. And because he owned his own company, he found out this guy was looking for another job, okay, in IT, which he needed actually. So he ended up arranging things to have the guy come in for an interview with him at the same time as he had his cheating girlfriend there. And let's just say it surprised the hell out of her, yada yada. And now that guy who was cheating with his girl of 2 years, he's now working for him. Okay, this guy controls his life. Meanwhile, that guy's with that girl who has that baby and all that. And so she has to know that the money that she uses to pay for her kid is coming from her ex who she was cheating on. It's a crazy story. And anyhow, guys, a lot of you guys had questions about certain elements to his story, as did I. So he wrote back to me yesterday, letting me know an update to a lot of the questions that you guys had, as well as an update to things that happened afterward with the family, which is pretty interesting. Because if you saw the video, and if you haven't, check it out, I'll post a link below. He got along great with her family. I mean, really well, especially the father. And so, he lost that connection with the family. At least that's what he thought. But it turns out he has a great connection with the family. So I'm going to update, excuse me. I'm going to go through his email here and give you guys the update to the whole situation. It has quite a funny ending and how things progressed after that whole thing went down. So it starts off, he says, Dear SSM, I'm sitting here in my office and noticed your video pop up. I have to say the reactions, both you and your comments, were beyond entertaining. Guys, excuse me for the coughing. I know it sounds stuffed up. My allergies are killing me today. Yesterday, it was about a real feel of about negative 17. We had this crazy cold day here in Massachusetts, New England, and now today it's like 40 degrees. So whenever there's a shift in the weather, my allergies go haywire. It took everything I had to get me to come here and film this video today because I'm freaking dying. So just bear with me here. Thank you. Anyhow, so he says here, I do have an update for you, though. I do apologize for the lack of details regarding much of the story I shared, but as the email was so long, and I know you somewhat limit your videos to below 30 minutes, I wanted to keep it shorter. But for the update, first thing for the lover's knowledge. No, at the time of the interview I had with him, he didn't know anything. When I met him in my office, he showed no sign of knowing who I was and was generally excited, as many men get, at a new opportunity and promise of a better paying job. In the story, guys, my biggest question was, as was many of you in the comment section, was when he got this guy to come in, the lover, for an interview, my thought was there's no way the lover could have known it was this dude. That his girl, essentially this guy's girlfriend, the guy telling the story, she had two different lives. She had the life with this guy who wrote the story for 2 years that she hid this from, and a life with another guy that she was having the affair with. Each of them didn't know about each other. So when he said he got the guy to come in for an interview, with her there, I might add, just to shock her, I'm thinking there's no way this guy would have agreed to this if he'd known. And as it turned out, he had no idea. So this chick was playing both these guys. Okay. He says here, as far as who started the interest in becoming exclusive to my now shame, yes, it was mostly me. I know, you're reading this shaking your head. Dude, why? I was just ready to start a family, or at least build up to it. Like so many other men before me, when you feel the time is right to begin building your legacy, you act. Another question in the video, guys, I had, and some of you had, was, in this story, it sounded like he was the one that brought up the whole relationship thing with her. They've been dating 7 months, and he brought up, where they stand, what he wants, all that. And I told him it's a mistake to do that, because unfortunately, if a guy's the one that brings up the whole relationship thing, that could turn a lot of women off. Okay, even if they like him, because in their mind, oh, he's rushing things. Okay, it's always best to have her bringing up the idea of getting exclusive, being in a relationship. Because believe me, if she wants it, she'll bring it up. As many of you guys, relationship guys, are aware of this. But when a guy does it, it's essentially him chasing, and you never want to be the one chasing. So when I read his story, I'm thinking she probably just went along with this to just go along with it, but she kept seeing the other guy. So and understandably, he obviously said he was at that point he wanted to settle, and he wanted to get things rolling, and I get that, but it's still never a good place to be the guy bringing up the relationship. So for all you relationship guys, if she's not bringing it up, she ain't ready. Just make that clear. And you limit your bargaining power. You have a lot less leverage if you're the one chasing and pursuing the relationship. Okay? What we should be doing is chasing and pursuing your purpose, and let her bring up the relationship. Okay? I can't make that any more clear. Okay, now we're going to get on to the actual story. So, he says, now back to the lover. I will later find out that he too lost his mind upon finding out the truth of his relationship with my ex. The poor guy was fed the same lies that I was. That sucks. I mean, she's a piece of shit, okay? Playing both dudes. She's a master at hiding things. Yes, he helped her with the betrayal of my relationship with her in a way, but as a man, I know he was equally betrayed. Heartache loves company, as they say, so I know he was any level of man he was hurting too. And yes, he was months after finding out the truth of the facts surrounding the mother of his firstborn. He and I talked at length. He came to my office the day after everyone else was gone asking to talk. I knew instantly that he finally knew the truth. I went to my wet bar in my office, poured him a glass of bourbon, and told him to sit down and relax and tell me everything. After finishing off his glass, he stood up asking how the hell could I hire him knowing that he was responsible for what happened. I coldly asked him a few questions. Did he know about me before now? No. Did he ever have suspicion that she was cheating on him? No. Did he ever have suspicion? No. Once he found out the truth, that was your response. He says, I felt sick to my stomach. After he answered again coldly, I said, what don't you understand? You're one of the best people for your position in my company. I don't care about your personal life. That's your business. What is my business is how you perform for me here. Like I said before, this guy is in IT, and apparently he's excellent at his job. And this guy who's telling the story here, and the one from the other day, he owns his own company. And so he hired this guy on the basis that, to basically scare the crap out of him and have him in the palm of his hand as revenge. But as he's finding out, this guy didn't know. He had no idea that this guy's girl was with this guy, And so he initially hired him as an act of revenge on him and her, but he'd end up getting the best IT guy he can get to make his business better. Anyhow, he says, and you have outperformed the man you replaced. You had no knowledge of what your girlfriend was up to any more than I did. You have a child to take care of, and I need your skills. It's a win for both of us. If you had known about me beforehand, known about my relationship with her, and still pursued her, I would have eaten you alive. After saying that, he relaxed back in his chair, and we talked for about an hour or more. I told him not to trust her, but that's his business, just some friendly advice. Told him don't worry about his job with me. As long as he performs, he and I, there'll be no issues. This guy is a pretty stand-up good guy here. I mean, a lot of guys would handle it differently, but this guy, the lover of his girlfriend, former girlfriend, he didn't know. But the advice I'd give him is get rid of her. Yes, you have a child with her. Okay, fine, it is what it is. But in terms of relationship, hell no. She cheated on him for 2 years. Cheated on this guy for 2 years. They had no idea about each other. I mean, talk about a master of deception, this girl. This poor dumb young guy needs to get away from her as quickly as possible. Obviously, he has his duties because, well, hopefully that's his child, if not somebody else's child. If it's his child, at this point, this guy would be questioning if it's his child and do a paternity test. Anyhow, he says, SSM, I'm a pragmatic sort of man. Yes, this guy is almost as guilty as she, but let's face it, his life is ruined now while mine will move on. Maybe I'll find another woman that's going to suit me or not. Either way, my company is strong, and this guy has a good job with an understanding boss. Dude, you've taken your situation, which really sucked. I mean, to really appreciate it, for a couple of years he was with this girl, thought he was going to marry her, got close to their family, and now it's over. But, he's just like, hey, okay, it happens. He's moving on and focusing on his business. And yeah, maybe one day you'll meet another chick, but I'm sure you're all the wiser now. It's unfortunate that you have to be that way in this world, guys, but you have to be. You have to pay attention to the red flags. In fact, you have to even look for red flags because given the environment we're in, given how it's almost encouraged, that gal isn't empowered nowadays unless she cheats or requests an open relationship or open marriage amongst all the other crap that came from the feminist movement over the last several decades. He says, now on to the good stuff. Yes, it gets better. Yes, guys, it does get better. Her parents didn't find out the truth until about 3 weeks after she and I were over. And honestly, it was a lot harder for me than I thought it would have been. As I mentioned in the first part, her parents and I were close. Her dad not only let me cut the turkey once, but also would come to my poker nights occasionally as well as play golf. In the first story, he mentioned he went there for Thanksgiving, and his dad let him cut the turkey. That's the man of the house's, job to do that and all that. But he invited him, which shows that he respected him, saw him as a son. So it sucks that what happened. He probably misses the family, her family, more than her. About 4 weeks after calling it over, her dad surprised me at work wanting to talk. Now, most men nowadays don't mind taking responsibility for their actions, but her dad is old school. He apologized profusely for his daughter's complete stupidity, he says. That is old school. A lot of guys nowadays would just defend her and look the other way as much as possible. Daddy's little girl, not this guy. Saying she made the worst mistake in her life, and his wife and he were completely ashamed for what she did. The man I grew to respect almost as much as my own father, I was almost in tears seeing the strong man brought low by the actions of his child. Like the lover, the other guy, I poured him a strong drink and told him he had nothing to do with this, and as far as I'm concerned, it changes nothing for him and I. I may not end up becoming his son-in-law, but a friend I already was. Her mother, on the other hand, was far less kind to her daughter's actions. I was later told my ex wasn't allowed at the family home for Christmas in 2021, and I was invited instead. How about that? They didn't want her in the house. I'd like to know what part of the country you're in, because it sounds like you're obviously in a much more conservative part of the country, or just she happens to have an old school, maybe conservative family. But that's hilarious. Again, a lot of stories I've done where the gal does the guy wrong. The father usually ends up apologizing, whether it's to the guy, whether he's a husband or fiance or something like that. And usually the mother makes excuses for the daughter. But in this case, even the mother is even more pissed off at the daughter. What does that say? He says, sadly, I couldn't come either, but the older daughter set up a video chat to allow me to celebrate the holidays with them from a distance. I will also add this little nugget as a bonus. Her father once played with the idea of me maybe dating his oldest daughter as another option. While we both laughed at this, and I know he wasn't really serious, and no SSM, I already know that's a bag of drama I want nothing to do with. Good. You don't need that because that would be drama central. Her parents and I are still very close. I talk to them almost weekly as they have almost become my surrogate family. I lost both my parents 15 years ago, and it's nice to have the stabilizing aspect of a family that you can turn to. I'm happy with my life, even given the chaos that's happening, but I remain focused on my purpose. Good. That is the number one thing a man should be focused on, whatever your purpose is. I don't care what it is, but if it's your purpose, that comes first. And it doesn't stop whether you're 25, 35, or 85. At 85 years old, probably your purpose is being able to walk. So every day you got to get up and walk so you don't get confined to a walker or wheelchair. But whatever it is, y'all got to have a purpose. Something that keeps you going to get up every day. Something that actually makes you eager to get up in the morning, I mean, today, for instance, I was up early because I met with 2 personal training clients, and then I had to do some research for videos and all that, and I'm off to go here. And so it gets me up in the morning knowing that I do things that I enjoy, personal training as well as what I do here on YouTube. Okay, and I kid you not, YouTube is just a passion of mine. I love what I do. I love working with you guys and the stories and all that, and that comes first above everything. It continues, never wavering once from your purpose. Guys like SSM and many other content creators say on topics like this, stay alert to red flags. I thought I was smart. I thought I had all my bases covered for making my expectations clear from the start, to stand my ground on certain things, but I was wrong. I would never say that all women are like this, because they aren't. No, not all women are going to do what your ex did, okay? No. But sadly, in this world, there are a lot of freaking lowlives out there. And just because they wouldn't go to the extremes that yours did, doesn't mean that they still won't pull a lot of shit. It is rare to get a gal these days that actually has some integrity, some old-fashioned ways, if you will. Okay, that's rare. So for you relationship guys, if you can actually get one that has some old-fashioned, old-school values and has some integrity and is not like the gals today, good. Good for you. But it's rare. It says, your legacy is more than marriage and children. Oh, excuse me. I skipped this one part. He says, just be smart. Never rush decisions regarding your life. Your legacy is more than children and marriage. I agree. Your legacy starts with you. Focus on you before anything else. I split my focus on work and in my mind, building a legacy, which at the time meant children and specifically a son to pass on everything. I, like you, all have time for that. Choose the right woman, but like SSM has said, even if you find the perfect woman, your focus should always start with you. Guys, there is no such thing as a perfect woman. And to be fair here, there is no such thing as a perfect man. We all have flaws. You guys have flaws, I got flaws. But this idea, some of these guys just get so brainwashed by the stupid movies. They're like, oh, the perfect girl, this, the perfect girl. I met the perfect girl. No, you didn't. She's only putting on a show. SSM, as always, thank you so much for your content. And thank you to your fellow viewers who listened to my story and gave their well wishes. Stay safe out there, gang. Cheers. Well, bro, thank you for sharing your story. It was a great one, and we all enjoyed it. And I hope that my advice and what I had to say, as well as the other guys out there, definitely helped you out. But I'm glad you were able to move on from this. I'm sure, I can't get the whole picture from what you wrote and all that. I'm sure it took time from the betrayal. But good for you. Now you're moving past this. And again, it is quite funny what you did by bringing that guy in for the interview. And at the time, you didn't know that he knew you. And, of course, your ex seeing this whole thing. That's pretty funny there. I would definitely urge this guy, if it comes up in conversation, to move on from this chick, okay? Because she's only going to do the same thing to him that she did to you, because cheaters always cheat, okay? And she takes being a lowlife to a whole new level, okay? So I'd encourage him next time. Obviously, he's younger than you. And a paternity test, I might add, because who knows if that kid is even his. And just focus on your purpose and go from there, man. And just keep kicking ass every day. That's what you're doing. So, but thank you for sharing your story. But, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, like I said before, if you got a great story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And I don't care if your story is from a week ago or 25 years ago. Just write out well, email it to me. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it down the road. But I get tons of stories, so just bear with me, because I will get to it when I can. Sometimes it take me weeks, sometimes 2 months to get to a story, but I will get to it if it is a good one. But make sure you write it out well. And also, guys, if you happen to be on Instagram or Locals, check me out, Strong Successful Male. I'm making a push this year into social media to really help expand things with the business here. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.